Hi, I am Haley Black, the Director of Education and co-founder of Inspirations Academy. I am doing this summer book study where I am breaking down this amazing book called The Self-Driven Child, The Science and Sense of Giving Your Kids More Control Over Their Lives. It's not what you think, parents. This is really written to parents. It's also great for educators like us. Or if you're an employer and you have young people working for you, this is just an awesome book, a mindset shift that's founded in neuroscience. So the two authors, one is like the neuroscientist and the other is the educator. And they've kind of come together and pulled their research and experiences, and they have put it all into this one book. It's an easy read book called The Self-Driven Child. And it is going to it helps set us up, the adults sets us up for how to raise these kids without driving us nuts, without losing your mind. So it's been awesome. It's been a game changer. I'm a mother of two. I have a teenage daughter and a preteen daughter. So we have all the things going on in our house too. And then we run the academy. So we have all the ages of kids there. So what's awesome about this book is it talks about kids all the way from birth all the way through early adulthood, because your brain isn't really even fully developed until your 30s. So it kind of goes into all this stuff. But I'm breaking this down for you and just giving you the tidbits. Hopefully it encourages you to buy the book and read it and digest it slowly yourself. There's a lot of meat in here. I don't have time to go over all of it, but I'm going to be going over chapters 9 and 10 today. Chapter 9 is full of stuff that you're going to want to read slowly. There's just so much I wanted to share with you in here. So chapter 9 is called Wired 24/7. It's talking about the beast of technology. I know this is a stressor for a lot of us, especially if you're raising children who are really battling you to want to be on that technology all the time. Maybe even have babies and toddlers that already are showing signs of addiction with it. It's crazy what's happening in the brain when your brain is interacting with technology and how it affects lots of other things in your life with your social, emotional well-being. So I made myself go through, because I have highlighted so much stuff from chapter 9, but I'm just going to give you three things that I pulled from this. So here's the number one thing that I'm going to kind of break down, and it goes into a ton of neuroscience and detail with this. Technology trains the brain to expect constant stimulation. This is not surprising, right? But here's what happens, and here's what I see as an educator with kids in the classroom and what I see at home. The kids cannot stand a minute of boredom. Kids don't know how to be bored. And the adults a lot of us who have kids or raising kids now, a lot of us have been raised in the tech world, right? So you don't know how to be bored. So you have anxiety when your kid starts to act out and be bored. They're like, I'm bored. So we want to naturally give them all kinds of solutions and give them entertainments. Think about when you're driving in the car, when you're sitting in a restaurant, what do? We hand them the screen, right? Because they don't know how to be bored. This also is leading to the way they learn. So the reading scores, nationally are not increasing, they're decreasing. What? How does that even happen? We're supposed to be smarter, all this technology, all these inventions, all this, we're in the age of innovation, right? The reading the comprehension is going down. What? That doesn't make sense. Well, it does. When you read the neuroscience, what technology does to our brain is it teaches you how to just skim. So kids are skim readers. They're looking for keywords. They're not diving deep into anything. It quickens their pace. They have poor self-regulation and executive function. Okay, we can be a testament to this to our own children. And we feel like we've even been pretty tight and controlled with the technology times that our kids have. But even the little time they have, we see the major impact on their brain, their mental health, their emotional health, our family's health. They have poor self-regulation and executive functioning skills, how to multitask, how to follow through with things, how to keep your room clean, things like that. All right, number 2, Poor mental health. Okay, I can affirm this is exactly what we have seen in our own family with technology in particular. It doesn't matter if it's like a learning experience on a technology or if it's just like mind-numbing experience. It doesn't matter. We have a child that it doesn't matter. It's just the screen. It's the screen. It's the way it's interacting with her brain. So younger people, even though the tech stuff and the social media stuff is supposed to be connecting, it's a false sense of connection. So young people, statistics show that are actually feeling lonelier, more tired, and more left out. Isn't that strange? There's an increased social media presence with young people, which is equaling to a decreased sense of well-being. Anxiety, depression, narcissism is all on the rise with young people. It also lowers their empathy. And we see this. As educators, we see this. This is a very big problem. All right, but the good news is these authors, they go over a lot of the issues and why they are issues, and they connect it to the neuroscience of why it's a problem. But they also give us some specific steps, simple steps to how to tame the beast of technology. Number one, you have to be the model. You have to be the role model. So if you want your kids off screens, we have to get off screens. Guys, I'm bad about it too. I catch myself just scrolling and scrolling. You know, social media is a big part of our business. So we are on social media just to educate and get the news out there about inspirations and what we are. But man, I catch myself scrolling and mindlessly and just looking and browsing. You don't realize how often you do it. Another tip, inform your kids instead of lecturing them. So like educate them about why this is a concern, what you're seeing in them, what are they seeing in you? You know, it's having a conversation. Collaborate with them. So again, the whole model of this is trying to give them a sense of control, right? And that's what technology does to their brains. It gives them a false sense of control, especially gamers, people who game. But collaborate with them. Talk about a solution as a family. When is tech time? When should everything be turned off? You know, and then talk about the effects that it had. Here's something that I really want to dive into, which I think is so cool and so interesting, and it makes so much sense. So the Japanese have this philosophy and this method called forest bathing. There's a Japanese word for it. And research does support this, that getting back in nature, unplugging, how it kind of detoxes your brain and naturally starts to rewire your brain. So you have improved social, emotional, and academics health. Okay, so all of that improves. I think that's super interesting. All right, so we're going to go into chapter 10 here really quickly. In chapter 10, let me pull it up here really fast. It's called Exercising the Brain and Body. So this is kind of connecting to that forest bathing, right? Got to get active. So it's talking about, it says, what we ultimately want is resilient, brain healthy kids who will be on a strong footing when it comes to life's many obstacles, both big, like not getting into the school of their dreams, and small, like coping with a rejection at a school dance, right? So this is what we want for our kids, how to work through those challenges. And as Inspirations Academy educators, this is a very big focus for us. This is why we're very intentional about the learning experiences that we place the students into. This is how we customize it. It's more than just learning content. It's about the experience of the process that they're going to go through to get to the learning of the content. That gets a little uncomfortable. I know we're creating things that are going to push them out of their comfort zone. Have them collaborate. They have to work together. Everything that's uncomfortable, because we have to train their brain that they can do hard things and they can persevere and they can overcome. So this kind of goes through various really simple exercises you can do with your child. Number one is set clear goals, and it talks about that. It goes into mental contrasting, how pictures can really help somebody who struggles with executive functioning. I think that's kind of cool. Should not be group goals, shouldn't be influenced by the adult, has to be something feasible and challenging. So there's a term for that called SMART goals. And you'll be amazed. I've done this for years with kids, all ages, have them determine what the goal is and what the consequence is if they choose not to work for the goal, if they choose to deliberately go against it, what is going to be their consequence? And I always have had students come up with their own. Like, I don't put it I'm like, what do you think would be fair? You know, if you choose X, what's going to be the Y? Like, what's going to happen next? And they do. They come up with their own consequences. All right, number 2, pay attention to what your brain is telling you. So again, this is think about your thinking, which ties into biblical truth, which we're going to be diving into in the fall and taking our students through in the fall as well. Practice plan B thinking. So again, this is rewiring. You have to take the kids and the brain to the spot of, this is a problem. So what are you going to do now? So you're taking them through that whole process. It strengthens the prefrontal cortex's ability to regulate the amygdala. This is a lot of science, right? The kids are going to learn all this science. And the amygdala is like the way you're reacting, the way you react to situations. So you have to strengthen it. You have to do some training, intentional training, just like if you were going to be on a sport team or ballet. Like, you can't just go perform and be awesome. Like, there's a training sequence, and it physically hurts, mentally hurts, emotionally hurts, but you're strengthening along the way. So that's what this is talking about. Number 4, talk to yourself with compassion. Again, this is strengthening certain areas of the brain. So when you are facing some unexpected challenges, you have that part strengthened. And this is going to tie into the Bible stuff as well. Number 5, practice reframing problems. So your brain doesn't know the difference between reality and fiction. It doesn't know. That's why we react to things that haven't happened. That's why we react. Our body reacts, or we're emotional about things we see on TV, even though we know it's fake, right? We know that they're actors. We know it's a fake story, but we emotionally react. Because your brain doesn't know the difference between what's really happened or is happening and what hasn't, like what you're imagining. This is where anxiety comes from. This is all about choosing the path of how you're going to frame that situation. And the more you practice, the easier it gets. And you'll notice that in your whole body. And I've been working on this myself for a couple years now through my morning Bible study. But you have to choose. And this is what the Bible says. We have been designed to choose this for ourselves. This is what is biblical truth. So you can choose the point of view that is the most helpful. You are creating neural pathways. So when your brain is confronting something unusual or unexpected, those pathways are strong, and that's where your neurons go. Okay. That's where the signals go. Let's see what else this says. It says, reframing involves looking at your own thoughts with care and actively redirecting them. This is the basis of cognitive behavioral therapy. So they're kind of going into some of the brain science again. They talk about some ways to approach this, have a self-soothing mechanism, a cool down spot, deep breathing. All these are techniques that are super, super powerful, and I've used for years. I just didn't know there was science behind all of it. But this is exactly what we intentionally embed into Inspirations Academy. We have those spaces, we have those places that are safe. And okay, it's okay. It's okay that you're freaking out. Here's how we unfreak out. Here's how we take back control. It talks about exercise, which that's nothing new. That's been around for a long time, guys. But I wanted to report back to about Finland. So we've been talking about Finland. Finland is one of the top performing countries in education in the world. And they went from the bottom, like one of the lowest, to one of the top, because they completely shifted their approach with education. It's amazing. When you look at Finland, and it's been happening for a long time. I've been looking at Finland for decades of like, why aren't we doing it like them? Listen to what they said. Finland is the head of the class. They mandate 20 minutes of outdoor play for every 40 minutes of instructional time. Now that is a change, isn't it? How important that is. It says one of the world's leading neuroscientists named Adele Diamond is particularly supportive of physical activities that simultaneously demand the core executive functions, working memory, inhibitory control, and cognitive flexibility. It says consider dance. When you learn a dance, you have to use your working memory to learn moves. So it kind of goes into all these things: yoga, martial arts, horseback riding, fencing, drumming, rock climbing. All of those fall in that category. So just getting them active and involved in those kinds of activities. Also, it talks about play. Playtime is crucial for the development of a healthy brain, including a well-functioning cerebellum. Brain needs the whole body movements of play to achieve maturity, and there's a sensitive period in which play is needed for brain stimulation. So this is what Finland pulls into their model. You know, they actually don't even require kids to start school until 7 or 8 years old. I forget what, I think it's 7 years old instead of 5. Right? Because they know the science of how important it is for brain development, healthy brain development. Those kids need unstructured play. Get outside. And a lot of it needs to be their life, right? Playtime, creativity, interacting with others. It needs to be their life. So that is what Finland does. And so Finland actually only requires kids to attend school for 9 years. So when they're at 16 years old, they're at the turning point of, okay, am I going to go to college? Do I need to go to a career path, or am I just going to be done and get into the workforce? So I think that's interesting, right? And it's all based off brain science. So Finland, go Finland. We are super excited to bring elements of that model here to our local community in Belleville through Inspirations Academy. We are pulling in brain science, biblical science, and we're looking at the people who are doing it right. We're looking at Finland. We're looking at models that are working and have been proven effective for decades. And we're just bringing those elements to Inspirations Academy. So if you're interested and curious, we have an open house on Friday, August 1st, grand opening of our location at Storyside Church in Belleville. Come on out, 10 a.m. Come see the space, learn a little bit about our programming, meet us and ask questions, and we'll go from there to help you guys. All right, have a great day.